For the next 100 days, I'll be surviving on an extreme survival island. This island consists of custom trees, custom cliffs, custom mountains, and big forests that will hide things lurking in the dark. Can I survive 100 days? Let's find out. Starting off on day 1, I noticed that there are some cows, which will come in handy later on. I got started by punching some wood, making myself a crafting table, and a wooden pickaxe. I then got to digging for stones so I could make myself some stone tools. After that, I went and slaughtered some cows to make sure I had some food, leaving some to breed later on. Then I proceeded to go explore a bit more of the island, avoiding a skeleton lurking in the dark. I then proceeded to find some sheep and slaughter just enough to make myself a bed. Then I had to defend my position from a zombie, and after that I cooked up some of the meat I got from the cows and sheep, got some more wood, set a waypoint, headed towards the shore, and crafted a boat to sail around the island to see if I can spot any points of interest. After sailing around the island, I noticed another island close by and got an idea for later on in the 100 days. I then proceeded to get back on the island and headed back to my waypoint, fighting mobs along the way, sleeping to make it day 2, and then almost dying to a baby zombie in the morning. When I got back to my waypoint, I decided to set up shop, crafted some more stone pickaxes, and went mining for some resources. Now I think this is the perfect time to mention that I have 2 other channels if you are interested. They are both linked in the description below. One of them is a Minecraft PvP channel, and one of them is a Call of Duty channel. And also, if you do want to play the map, that will be linked down the description as well. In the end, I found myself some coal and 2 iron, which I used 1 iron to make myself a shield. On day 3, I went back and continued mining. Finally, I found deep slate and there is a spider spawner, but that excitement was short-lived because a creeper blew up my spawner. I proceeded to loot the spawner chests, got jumped by another creeper, and then I got excited again because I found diamonds. I looked around the cave for more iron and found some, and decided to keep looking around and found some more diamonds and a watery friend. Then I proceeded to turn around and there he was. After killing the jockey and its chicken, I set up my furnace, smelted some iron, grabbed the diamonds, and slept to make it to day 4. On day 4, I mined the rest of the ores I could find in the cave, took out a skeleton, made my way back to the surface, crafted a diamond pickaxe, and made myself a full set of iron armor, then slept to make it day 5. On day 5, I headed down to the water to grab some water because I had the goal to make a wheat farm. I killed a creeper and some skeletons taking cover under a tree and looked up into the sky to see it start to rain. Little did I know what was in store for me the rest of this day. I then broke as many pieces of grass as I could to get seeds, defended my base from a rogue creeper, and wanted to start making my farm, but it quickly turned into an episode of The Walking Dead as I got attacked by every zombie in existence. After balancing killing mobs and building my farm, I somehow randomly lost my shield when my sword broke. I then noticed I had a potato in my inventory and scrapped the wheat farm idea to grow some potatoes as I was in desperate need of some food. After that, it was getting late and I went to sleep to make it day 6. On day 6, I finally finished my farm and planted some wheat seeds along with the potatoes. Afterwards, I collected some wood and decided to build some basic animal pens for the sheep and cows. After building pen number 1, it was nighttime, so I went to bed to make it day 7. On day 7, I built pen number 2 and proceeded to grab the 2 sheep nearby and put them in pen number 1, then got cow number 1 in the second pen and cow number 2 in the second pen. Next, I grabbed my bed and headed down to the shore and decided to set up an area to fish for the next few days to allow my farm to grow and to see if I could fish anything of value. On day 13, I decided to stop fishing and headed back to my base. What I got from fishing wasn't amazing, but at least I won't run out of food for a while. I started to smell all the fish I got, and then I was able to fill in my entire farm. Bred my animals one last time and headed out to find some sugarcane so I can make an enchant table. It didn't take me long to find the sugarcane I needed, and after grabbing it all, I quickly headed back to the island. When I got back, I decided to go mining for some obsidian. I remembered that earlier I found a single piece of lava and make quick work of it. I then started digging down even more to try to find a lava pool and almost suffocated to death in some gravel. Having no shovel and no torches, I took almost suffocating to death as a sign to head back up. While heading back up, I noticed it was nighttime and went to sleep to make it day 14. I proceeded to grab what I needed for a long mining trip and headed back down. After mining for a while, I finally found a lava pool and it was connected to a big cave. I decided to explore the cave before grabbing the obsidian and found found so many ores, especially diamonds, which in the end, after mining every vein, I had 39 diamonds in total. I then grabbed what I originally went down there for, being the obsidian, and when that was done, it was nighttime, so I slept to make it day 15. On day 15, I got sidetracked and explored more of the cave, mining every ore that I saw in sight. Then headed up and deposited everything into a new chest. I then enchanted my diamond tools with some basic level 1 enchants, and used the diamonds I acquired to make myself full diamond armor, which I also enchanted with level 1 enchants. On day 16, I decided that it was time to start actually building a home on this island. I decided that this area looking towards the water was perfect and proceeded to level out an area on the side of the hill big enough for a house. On day 17, I started framing my house, and building is not my strong suit, so I would be constantly making things and then taking it down again. After the framing was complete, I needed spruce wood for the roof trim, so I headed out to get some spruce wood and also grabbed some oak wood as well. I then started on the roof using tough and mossy cobble stairs, as I felt those blocks matched the surrounding area. I quickly ran out of tough, so I headed back down in the mine to get some. After mining about 2 stacks, I headed back up, but stopped along the way to sleep to make it day 18, and then mined the mossy cobble that was part of the spawner, as I would probably need more of it later on. I then went and crafted up the remaining stairs I would need for my roof, and finished the majority of it. On day 19, I spent the entire day AFK looking for ideas for future builds. On day 20, I started adding in oak floors to my house, putting in the doors, adding a staircase to reach the second floor, and adding most of the walls on the second floor until I needed to go back into the mines to grab some more deep slate. While leaving the mine, I once again noticed it was nighttime and slept to make it day 21. On day 21, I added some detail to the outside of the house and finally filled in my roof and started adding a second portion. I then finally filled in the leftover walls and finished the interior roof. I then focused on some light interior like adding in some barrels and slept to make it to day 22. On day 22, I started off by adding some fences to my balcony, adding some more doors, and putting in some lanterns. After that, I went and got some sand to make some glass for the windows. While the sand was smelting into glass, I used this opportunity to add part of the second portion of the roof and slept to make it to day 23. In the morning of day 23, I added the glass windows to my house and then went to get some leaves for decoration that will be used later on. I also made some campfires and harvested all the crops as they were all completely grown. I made 4 hay bales and used the rest of the wheat to breed my cows, as I want a level 30 enchantment table in the future. I then added the campfires to the second portion of my roof and hid them using trapdoors, and went to sleep to make it to day 24. I spent the entire morning moving all my items into my house and adding areas for smelting. I then started adding some decorations around the outside of my house, and before I knew it, it was night, so I went to sleep to make it to day 25. On day 25, I started making a path going down the hill that was in front of my house. I settled on mossy cobble, regular cobble, and tough for the outer walls of the path, but while I was doing that, I had to take out some skeletons that were not invited to the party. I then went back and started adding pillars that would eventually have some lanterns on top, and it quickly became nighttime, so I headed to bed. On day 26, I stopped to admire the rainbow and used some gravel to add some variations to the path. I looked at it from above and I was happy with it overall. I also realized I had no iron to make lanterns, so I decided to take a break from building and went to mine for the next couple of days, but before I could do that, I got interrupted again by some pillagers that again did not get the memo that they were not invited to the party. On day 31, I emerged from the mine and this is what I got. I forgot to press record when I was down there, but I did find a mine shaft and a spider spawner. I then finally added lanterns to my posts along my path and then focused on building the farm out front. First, I created an area for the farm to go, then I didn't like it and decided to tear it down and use the natural terrain instead. I also added the same design I used for the outer path above where the farm is going to be, to make sure it's separated from the rest of the hill. After doing that, it was nighttime, so I slept to make it day 32. On day 32, I filled in every area with dirt, added hidden water sources to the farm, and planted both potatoes and wheat seeds. I then remembered I had planted sugarcane earlier and went to harvest and plant it all, as I'll be needing that level 30 enchant table very soon. After that, it was getting dark, so I went to sleep to make it day 33. On day 33, I added more of those custom pillars to the walls around my farm, and then added some more detail, being cobble walls, cobble stairs, and some leaves. I also decided to add some moss to make the place look a little bit more lush and lively. and then slept to make it day 34. Fast forward from day 34 to day 40, and I finally got all the bookshelves I needed for a level 30 enchant table. But before I could enchant, I needed to build my enchanting tower. But the problem was that I didn't have nearly enough blocks for it, so I headed down into the mines to get what I needed. I proceeded to grab some deep slate, amethyst, and coal, and then slept, and in the morning of day 41, I grabbed some spruce wood, and then finally got started on building the exterior framing of the tower. As soon as I started, it decided to rain, which did not make me happy. I first put in the floor that was made out of amethyst, and decided to enchant a new pickaxe as my current one was on its last legs, and ended up getting Fortune 3, Efficiency 4, and Unbreaking 3. I then continued on my tower using deep slate to build the walls, and halfway up I realized the dimensions were off and spent the rest of the day confused and decided to go to sleep and fix it in the morning. Finally, on the morning of day 42, I fixed my mistake and continued on the tower. Once I reached the top, I added some stone brick stairs, stone brick slabs, and stone brick walls to the outside to make it fit more of a castle aesthetic. After that, I decided to focus on the windows, starting off by poking holes in areas where I wanted the windows to go, then using a basic design of spruce slabs, trapdoors, and fences. Once the last windows was complete, I added in the glass panes, and it was time to go to bed to make it to day 43. On day 43, I added what looked like a retractable ladder in the middle using trapdoors with ladders on them, then added some glowberries and lanterns for decoration, a winding staircase up to the very top, some chains and lanterns on the outside, and finally a path leading down. I looked at it from above and was happy with the result, so on day 44, I added some bone meal to the glowberries to make sure they were glowing, put some barrels behind the enchant table for some storage, and realized I had 4 amethyst crystals left, and put them on the top for a pop of color, as well as some trapdoors because why not. After that, I went and created some new diamond tools and got confused when I tried to enchant them, and it turns out I had to remove part of my ladder as it was blocking some of the bookshelves from working. After doing that, I enchanted a shovel and got efficiency 4, and enchanted an axe and got efficiency 4 on breaking 3. I definitely needed those better tools because I was going to add a storage and crafting room hidden behind a nether portal. After clearing the area, I decided that a nether portal cave would look cool and started framing the cave. Once I got the cave framed out, it was time for bed, so I slept to make it day 45. On day 45, I started to detail the cave. I went around adding various mossy cobblestone blocks, tough slabs, and stairs, as well as some cobblestone walls, and then topped it off with some leaves. I then carved out a small area inside and went into my house to grab what obsidian I had. After placing the obsidian on the inside, I realized that I needed to make it bigger, and for that I would need more obsidian. So I headed down into the cave and admittedly grabbed way too much obsidian. I also grabbed some of the redstone and gold I saw, as I will grab every bit of XP that I can get. After returning from the mine, it was nighttime again, so I slept to make it day 46. On day 46, I finally created the right size for my portal and finished editing the cave around it. After that, it was time to create the underground storage base. I started off digging a staircase down a couple blocks so the surface would not be an issue. I then started clearing out an area for the underground base to go, making sure that it would be big enough to walk around in, but also hold areas for crafting and chests. After the area was cleared out, I started adding pillars to act as support, and it was nighttime again, so I made it to day 47. On day 47, I started adding the interior to my underground storage base, starting off with the furnaces and some stairs and trapdoors to add more support. I then went back to my base to grab some deep slate for the floor. I ended up on this checkered type pattern for the middle walkway and filled it in. After filling in the floor, I added some tables to the back that will hold items later on, and realized that for the second time in this 100 days, I got the dimensions of something wrong, and I quickly fixed it. I then added a stone cutter and some barrels to the back wall, along with some trapdoors underneath to act as shelves. I tried some diorite as the wall and didn't like it, so I went back to go and get some oak wood, but not before sleeping to make it to day 48. After grabbing what logs I had laying around, I returned and used some stripped oak wood for the walls and ended up liking it, so I went and crafted an anvil and added it to the back table, as well as putting in stripped oak to all 3 of the back walls, and then added in some details like stone cutters and more barrels. For the rest of day 48, I headed out to get some oak wood because I needed it for the chests, but the 2 zombies attacking me told me it was time for bed. On day 49, I continued collecting oak wood and got jump scared by a tree climbing creeper and twerked on its dead body. Subsequently, the creepers did not take me twerking lightly because I got jumped by 3 creepers back to back, and a zombie hiding in a tree. After getting all the wood I needed, I headed back to my underground storage base, crafted a stack of chests, cleared out an area, and started placing in all the chests, but even with the stack of chests, it wasn't enough, so I quickly cleared out the other side, slept to make it to day 50, and headed out to get even more wood. While collecting wood this time, it was pretty uneventful. Only one zombie villager wanted to challenge me. After getting more wood than last time, I headed back and filled in all the chests on the other end, and used andesite to test and see if I liked it for the floor and the roof, and I decided to go with it. So I started to clear out the floor and replace it with andesite, and after running out of andesite, I headed out for more, but first I stopped to make it to day 51 and collect more oak wood and spruce wood, as I know we'll need it later on. When searching for andesite, I found a small vein, but I knew I needed more, so I started strip mining. At first I didn't find any andesite, but was finding a lot of iron and coal, but then I found a giant vein of andesite and started collecting it before needing to sleep to make it to day 52. On day 52, I continued mining more andesite until my inventory was full and headed back to the surface. Once I got back, I finished up the floor, added in the ceiling, and did a staircase down to the underground storage base. I moved all my items into the chests and then added walls made of tough bricks behind the chests because I realized that you could actually see between the chests. I needed more tuff, so I headed back into the mine for what seemed like the millionth time and grabbed a lot of tuff as I was going to need more of it for the next project. And I even found some hidden diamonds. I returned back to my underground storage base on day 53 and crafted more tough bricks and filled in the walls. I also crafted some chiseled tuff for the floor, and you couldn't really see it, but I went in with it anyways. When that was complete, I slept to make it day 54 and went into the nether for the first time to find some glowstone. I carefully made my way up and grabbed as much of it as I could. Then I returned back home and filled in the glowstone for the walls by the staircase, surrounded it with some oak wood, and put some trapdoors in the glowstone. After that, I moved into my next project, being a pier out front of my base. I started on a basic outline using some spruce logs and some slabs, and then looked at it from above and was happy with the results, so I went to bed and immediately got into combat on day 55. After defeating the intruders, I continued creating my pier, adding in the fence design to the outside and continuing the slabs. I then created the second area that's separated from the main pier, and after building it, I realized that for the third time I got the dimensions of something wrong and quickly fixed it. After making sure all the dimensions were perfect, I added in all the fences I needed that surrounded the pier. After taking a look at it from above and liking the results, I slept to make it day 56. On day 56, I ventured off and collected a ton more spruce wood for the pillars. I proceeded to add in almost every single pillar and slept to make it day 57. On day 57, I finished the last pillar and looked at the results. I then crafted up some blocks to detail the water around the pier, as it was looking pretty plain. I started off by adding some rocks all around that consisted of tough slabs, mossy cobble slabs, andesite slabs, and cobblestone. After adding the rocks, it was time to remove my sugarcane farm as it served its purpose. I did, however, add some pieces of sugarcane as decoration. I then jitter-clicked a composter to get as much bone meal as fast as possible, then slept to make it day 58. On day 58, I used that bone meal to add some seagrass to the water by the pier, and I added some leaves for some more greenery as well. I then grabbed some lanterns to add as lighting in the water, and by the end of the day, it was looking good, but I thought it needed to be bigger. So on day 59, I headed back into the mine for the 376,000th time to get more tough blocks for the rocks. And while I was down there, I grabbed some vines and glow lichen to use as more decoration. When heading back up, I got sidetracked and decided to add a staircase all the way up and down so I could stop bonking my head, and went to sleep to make it to day 60. On day 60, I added some vines to the cliff face and barrels as decorations to the beach, as well as adding more rocks to the water out front, and overall it was starting to look a lot better. I quickly grabbed items in my house that I could use as compost, and on day 61 I used the bone meal I got and added more seagrass to the areas around the rocks, and was very happy with how it was looking, but I noticed I needed more lanterns, and you guessed it, into the mines I go for more iron. Fast forward to order 66, I mean day 66, and I emerge with a ton of iron and coal that will come in handy for all my future projects. I put all the iron in the furnaces to smelt, and in the meantime I decided to enchant. I enchanted a sword and got sharp 3, fire aspect 2, and unbreaking 3. I went back and collected all the iron to get back to level 30 and enchanted a pickaxe, and only ended up getting unbreaking 3. I then realized that clocks exist and crafted one to put in my underground storage space, and then crafted 2 more and put one in my house and one in my enchanting tower. After that, I added more lanterns under my pier to light up the area, and then decided to craft a map of the the area so I can put it on a wall. When looking at the map, it started to rain, so I headed inside and put the map on the wall and noticed that for some reason it kept going black. Maybe it's an issue with the shaders, but whatever it is, it's kind of disappointing. I then headed off and had the plan to get a ton of wood for future projects, and fast forward to day 74 and I have almost an entire inventory of wood. I quickly got back to work on finishing my pier, adding the trim along the outside that consists of spruce trap doors. I also wanted to make the pier a bit bigger on either end, so I started expanding it. After seeing how one side looked and liking what I was seeing, I did the other side and finally finished the trim just as it turned nighttime. On day 75, I tested my bow skills, and after over a decade of playing this game, they still haven't improved. I then made a shipwreck, and what made it challenging was that it was diagonal. Once I got the shape down, I started adding in some walls, some broken bits of wood, and a fallen down mast. Overall, it didn't look too bad considering I don't build ships or diagonally, and finally added some seagrass on it to make it look like it has been crashed for a very long time. I then decided to add some tuff and cobblestone stairs and slabs around to add some texture to the rock face, and it did change it more than I thought it would. After that was complete, I wanted to make the barn for my animals, so the wheat and potato farm had to go. After clearing up the area, it was time for bed, and on day 76, I started making the barn. I first made a very simple outline using wood planks and logs, and then started creating a diorite trim. I realized that I had no diorite left and my pickaxe was almost broken, so I repaired my pickaxe and the rest of my tools and went mining for some diorite. After getting all the diorite, I slept to make it day 77 and returned to finish the roof trim, killed a wandering trader for its leads. After the roof was complete, I spent the rest of the day pondering how I was going to make the windows and door to the barn, and on day 78 I finally got to work and decided that some simple fences and stripped oak and oak planks would be great for the windows and walls. After all that was filled in, I noticed a skeleton wearing full diamond armor, and after killing it, it unfortunately dropped nothing of value. I then started adding in my barn doors using the double spruce trap door method, and on the morning of day 79 I finished the barn door and added a window up top using oak trap doors and settled on a plus shape. I also added some lanterns inside for lighting and filled in the floor with dirt and added a small path, and overall it turned out pretty good. On day 80 I added the path I used for my house, consisting of mossy cobble, tuff, and leaves, and lit it up with some lanterns. On day 81 I moved all the animals into the barn, starting with the cows and then the sheep. After that I killed a baby zombie and it dropped a pair of pretty good gold boots. I then remembered to put in the gravel path and quickly did that. I then created a small cave around my mine entrance using cobblestone and mossy cobblestone. On day 82, I moved into clearing out an area that would eventually hold a pond. I dug out a pond shape and then filled it with water, and then added some fences and lanterns for decoration. I also felt that behind my house needed some work, so I added a mine that looks like it had just started, a small market stall, and a pile of wood. After that, I slept to make it to day 83, and on day 83, I started the longest task of the 100 days, being a wall around my base. This wall consists of alternating stripped oak and spruce wood and some fences with lanterns on top. And finally, by day 97, I finished it. And all of day 97 and 98, I went around adding some final details to the base, and on day 99, I organized my chests. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, here we are on day 100. It took a while to get here, but I might as well start off the tour. And wow, this wall took me a very long time to do. Honestly, I did not expect it to take that long, but I just kept running out of wood. But basically starting off over here, we got the mine, we got the barn, a nice little pond as well. This area I didn't really do anything with. Maybe if we do 200 days, I could do something over here. Got the house that was built earlier on, got the farm down here as well. And I'm honestly really proud of this like pier thing here with all the rocks and like this crashed boat. Even though I'm not really good at building boats in general, I feel like it kind of fits the theme and you kind of know what it is. And then you have like the nether portal with like the storage underneath as well. So yeah, overall surviving 100 days on this island was actually very fun, and please be sure to like and subscribe because there will be more 100 days videos in the future, because I have returned and I have a lot of ideas that are going to be in the works very soon. Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.